Welcome back to the TriFecta Airsoft podcast. I'm your host, E-Rock. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already so you never miss another podcast. Also, do me a favor. Go on to whatever podcast app you listen to us on and give us a rating and review. That really helps us rank in the searches. Thank you so much. Let's get into the podcast. Welcome, bro. Yeah, dude. I like your shirt.
Repping a little bit, yeah. I don't go anywhere without them now.
For sure. Yeah, you should, man. Now, is that the Airsoft team? Is that the name of the Airsoft team? Okay.
So my team's actually a company as well. So we just became a business this year because doing events as often as we do requires insurance, and getting insurance requires being a business. So we had to go that route. Which I'm not sad I did. I was always planning to do it. It just kind of kicked us in the butt a bit to get it going. But yeah, Brotherhood Airsoft is both the team and the company, and we're hoping to grow here and continue to grow the community around us going forward. But yeah, ask away. What do you want to do tonight?
Yeah, dude, it's cool. Well, we're just BSing about. Well, usually what I do is go over people's background, kind of conversation about how you got started in airsoft, what kind of interesting things you got going on. It sounds like you got some cool shit going on with starting your own LLC or whatever. Having a I've been down that road twice, so I know the frustration. So,
and the lack of sleep, dude, like 4 hours a night if I'm lucky. But seeing like the fun that people have, especially people that have never played before, and they come out and they have a really good first experience in airsoft, and then they have someone they can go to where, hey, I've got this question, hey, should I buy this? Should I buy that? Like, it's a lot of time, but I love being that, I love being able to help people with that. Right. And dude, it's just so rewarding. Like there's nothing quite like it. Like seeing someone smile and genuinely enjoy themselves. Like there really isn't.
Right. Yeah, that's a big step though. Like, going from playing airsoft to having a team and then hosting events, and then kind of the next step, which is what you guys have just done, where you're an official event hoster, right? And now for a business, what is that? What category is that? Like.
So I don't want to go into too many details because we're going to be changing things up for that next year. We went the simpler, quicker route to get the insurance, and we're going to be going full LLC next year for that. And we are, and I guess you would call us an official. Yeah, I guess. We are the officially sponsored team for our local field for Giant in SanDiego by Giant Sports. They are some of the owners of some of the largest parks in the country. So, like, they own Giant, they own SC Village in Chino, California. They own Hollywood Sports Park in Hollywood, California. And the owner of all three of those, one of the owners of all three of those, also owns Giant Party Sports in Texas, which I believe is the largest field in Texas.
Damn.
Dude, they're massive, and I genuinely could not have gotten anywhere near where I am today without their help and without their support. And they've got a truly great collection of fields. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that got me to where I am now. It is not just me. Like no one starts growing and succeeding in airsoft by themselves. No one does. And if they think they do, they're full of themselves. There's no way.
No one does, bro. That's everyone that I've seen and talked with, and that's. And most airsofters are pretty humble that way. They're pretty humble about their beginnings and. Honest about how they got started and stuff. But yeah, you're always with, whether it's, and I've talked to a couple people that didn't go to their first game or get into airsoft from like a friend or relative, which is very unusual, but they got into it from watching YouTube videos. So, some of the big channels, they watch whatever kind of style that they liked. And that's what got them to go, even by themselves, even though, they were nervous. Like, I don't know anyone. I don't know if I have the right shit. and they show up and start anyway. And, you know, so yeah, there's always some kind of stepping stone or people to help you along the way.
Oh yeah, 100%. And like I've learned the last couple of years is there's no such thing as a wrong loadout. Everyone's got their own thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they're going to continue to grow as the longer they play. Like for me, I've gone through thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of kit at this point. And when I start not using something anymore, I just throw it to someone new.
Yeah.
I find someone who's going out to the field, especially some like younger kids, like late teens, right? They may not have like a good job or anything like that. And it's like, hey, I see you out here regularly. I like that you want to come out and do it more.
Yeah.
Here, I got this extra stuff. I got extra eye pro. I got extra face pro. I got gloves. I got extra belts. I got here this pistol. I don't use this anymore. Here, and I love doing that. And that's something that's really big at our field. Like I see that all the time from dozens and dozens of players from several different teams. And that's kind of the vibe we're trying to grow with our team is promote the community, promote healthy growth. And if there's problems, which there are sometimes, every field has them, handle them the right way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, if you want, I'll give you a little breakdown of how I got started in Airsoft.
That'd be great. Well, so just as a background for anyone that's watching or listening to this, I found you from talking to Hooney. It's Hooney, yeah. So I was just talking to him a few nights ago, and then he recommended you. He knew, he was like, "Oh, you need to talk to Brotherhood Airsoft, Kyle Smith." I was like, "Okay." So I looked you up, Instagram, followed you, sent you a message, and then we worked this out.
Yeah, it's actually funny. It was literally like right after one of our live videos too. That Hooney was in. Yeah, Hooney was in it for a little bit. Yeah. So we started doing live videos between once and twice a week when I have time in my schedule. And what I do is I get all the other I invite everybody, any team in Southern California where we are right now. I invite them in. Others are welcome to, of course, but I let any of the teams from Southern California have the floor for a bit. I invite them into the live video. I let them talk. I don't let them. I have them talk about themselves because it's about bringing the community together. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Yeah, it's just. And as well as that, I have other people that are hosting events as well that I invite in. I'm like, hey, come on, let's get the news out there because not everyone hears about stuff because a lot of people that get into Airsoft, they're a little timid to talk to other people at first, especially new to Airsoft. They play with who they play with and they talk with who they talk with.
Right.
And what we're trying to do is get everyone that comes out to talk with everyone that comes out to bring the community together, but also like on those rare occasions where you start having an issue. If you know the guy, you're going to be able to have a lot better of a conversation about it. But hey, dude, I noticed this in the field. Let's have good games. Let's have good vibes. And if everyone's behaving like that, new players come in, fresh with rental guns that barely work. You know how it works. You know how it is, and just terrified out of their minds because they've never played before. But if they see these guys who are like, hey, no, it's cool. Follow me. I'll show you everything I know. Come on with me. Which I see all the time at our local field, which is awesome. Yep. It really does help the community grow, and the community growing is the only way the sport's going to stay around. Like us old guys, eventually we get worn out and we stop playing. I haven't stopped playing. I've played less just because I've been running events and stuff, and had some health issues this last year. But that's starting to get a lot better moving along, so I'm able to play more, which I love. Like. I feel like anyone that plays or anyone that does events or runs a store or does anything like financially related with Airsoft should have to play, because if they don't, they lose touch with the community, man. And it's really sad to see what happens after that. But yeah, it's Hooney's a great dude. He actually he made a South Park caricature of me in some of my kit that I'm going to get made into some patches. He's a really cool dude, man. I really enjoy seeing him out on the field on the rare occasions that we're actually able to meet up, because he's like 100 and something miles north of me here in California. But he's just such a cool cat, man.
Yeah. I had a good time talking with him. What was funny too is when I followed you, your channel, and then I saw the your home field, and then I saw these pictures from I think it's Storm the Poet, who I follow on Instagram as well, and I've been wanting to talk with him, get him on the podcast too. Wild character, man, just all kind of different outfits and stuff when he, really cool. But so yeah, you were talking about SC Village, Like I follow their Instagram, their channel. I know a couple, or I've talked with some people that play there, and then Hollywood. There's one of our guys that's been on our channel for, been part of our Discord for quite a couple years. Van Alex, he just started playing over there like in the last 6 months or so. So I'm finding out about all these fields and all these different people from other people I've talked with, or whatever, had conversations with on even just through Discord, and then and now I'm meeting all you guys. It's like it's all these people are connected. This guy goes, oh, talk to this guy. He runs this field down here. Like, oh, okay. And it's like this. And it's so wild, man.
And Storm's one of those guys that's exactly the same. Like, he's so awesome when it comes to community, bringing the community together and getting people to play with each other and have a good time. Like, I was at a private event that he threw recently at N1, an indoor field here in California, and the man organized it all, had everyone come out. He's in a giant banana suit. It's on his birthday. In literally a giant banana suit, like literally from peanut butter jelly in a baseball, that ancient freaking video.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's just running around with that playing, and he organized the whole thing himself, right? And then ordered food for everyone himself. Like, wasn't charging for food, was just handing food out to everyone that came out.
Wow.
And he's a really, really awesome character. I really dude, shouldn't say character.
Yeah.
A really awesome dude. I really enjoy hanging out with him. I've only actually got to sit down with him and meet him twice. Because he lives so far north of me, but I'm trying to organize more stuff with him because he's just so good at bringing the community and people together, which we need more of that. Like, Southern California has gotten really good about that recently. My team and a couple other teams have been starting to come together to form almost like a little coalition of teams just to promote good vibes and everyone having fun out on the field. But Storm, oh man, he's awesome. I'll have to shoot him a message, see if he wants to see when he can spare some time to hop on and do a podcast, because his podcast would be awesome.
I think I sent him a message a long time ago. When I first found him, I might not have, but I don't know. But sometimes, when if you're not friends, like if you follow somebody but they don't follow you back, if you send them a message, it goes into that like
request.
Right. Yeah. So
I check mine regularly. I think I was actually already following you. Maybe when you messaged me. Let me go back. Let me see.
I don't know.
I think I maybe either I think maybe I think I was following you already. It might have gone to message request, but I always look at that, see who messaged me, and then usually immediately follow them and message them back. But yeah, no, he's a great dude. And the Southern California community in general is really, it's making moves. Like, there's so much going on. There's this great team, Biohazard Airsoft, that's partnered with a company, KWA, to do events. So it's KWA Tactical League, run by KWA and Biohazard Airsoft. They've been just absolutely blowing it out of the park this year. They've been doing a ton of events, tons of different styles. It originally started at SC Village, and then they started going SC Village, Hollywood Sports Park, Giant, then Arizona, then Northern California, and they're just expanding. They're doing Texas, Giant Party Sports, all over the place. They're great. They're doing a ton of great stuff for the community, and they're really bringing the community together and having this really cool thing for people to gather behind and get behind. And they actually just started a thing called, it was KWA, I forget what it's called, but it was like super competitive, and they're turning it into a TV show. So it's like a sport. Yeah, dude. Oh dude, it's cool. Oh, dude, it's cool. Yeah. So they've got like recording stuff everywhere, and they're making huge moves, dude. I love to see what they're doing.
Oh, I can't. I'm
actually super excited. Most of their stuff's like super far north of me, 100 miles or more north of me. So, and most of the time it's days that I'm doing events because there's only so many weekends in a month.
Exactly.
And so I haven't been able to make it to nearly as many of their stuff as I'd like, but I'm going to be hitting their December event because it's a December event down at Giant at my home field, and it's a charity event, which I'm all about. I was going to go regardless of them having an event at my home field, but a charity event, I'm like reaching out, grabbing everyone I can to get out to this thing because it's a great cause.
Yeah.
And it's pushing me to do stuff like that too, which is like, oh man, that's a great idea. I just hadn't thought to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there's so much that goes into running these events and creating these events, especially the first year that you're doing it, that you're just swamped, dude. And I just didn't think, hey man, I should reach out to some local charities. It just didn't cross my mind. And I'm glad they did it because now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking, oh, what great local charities can I help out
Right.
and get some attention to while still showing people a great time on the field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that too about all the people I'm talking with. They've been so different and so I mean, obviously the single draw that the commonality is the airsoft, but the they're all different people in all different countries and all different backgrounds and ages or whatever,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're all like that. Like they're excited about
Mhm.
building the community, just the whole sport itself, and they're all about supporting each other and kind of getting excited about the next thing that's coming out, the next event, which I love to see, man, because it's that's something that when you're working, when you work all the time, once you get out of high school, college, whatever, or military, you start a job and it gets mundane after a while. You know what I mean? And that's what hobbies are for, something that, or if
Some
you have
spice to
some kind
life.
of,
Yeah.
for real, man, you got to have that drive and purpose, something that you are excited about, you look forward to, and you want to maybe, it's a little bit uncomfortable, right? You got to get outside your comfort
Mhm.
zone, which is great because that's how you grow and get like, oh man, I don't really like hanging out with people, but I really want to play this sport. And so they go and then they're like, holy shit. Like I was really kind of introvert and now I got like 50 friends. It's fucking awesome, man. It's cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I ever, I don't think I ever go out to the field ever and not make a new friend,
Yeah.
like ever. Just because it's so great. The people there genuinely want to have a good time and to connect with people. Because like
Hmm.
today's day and age, just life is so nasty and so toxic in a lot of
Yeah.
ways, and everyone's struggling to survive. Like here in California, we have a ton of military, like just
Oh,
massive
for
amounts of
sure.
military.
Yeah. Camp
And
Pendleton, bro.
dude, Camp Pendleton,
I
Miramar,
was right. You got
32nd
Miramar,
Street,
Coronado,
Coronado, dude, yeah, all over the
fucking
place.
all over, dude. I was at all those
Uh,
places. Yep.
oh, did you serve?
Yeah, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years, so I was at
Oh,
Pendleton. So I
thank
know
you for your service,
Oceanside.
man.
Yeah, dude, of course. I was at Oceanside, had one of my best friends that I grew up with. He went in the Navy, I went in the Marine Corps. He got stationed at Miramar. He worked in the Top Gun hangar at Miramar. He was one of those guys that loaded the missiles and bombs onto the F-14s and shit. And then I spent some time at Coronado. Um, had some Navy buddies that were submariners, the submariner base down there. So I spent a ton of time at Mission Beach, at Venice Beach, in Oceanside, uh, getting drugs, drinking, and getting
Yep,
chicks, and going to Tijuana. Okay.
yep. The military life, 100%.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's awesome because with how many fields we have, there's one on Pendleton now, actually,
I heard about that.
and there's a whole bunch of other local fields. The military has something to do, and having them come out the first time, a lot of them are like, "Oh, dude, I do that for a living already. Why would I want to do that for
Right.
fun?" And then one of their Marine buddies or Navy buddies or whatnot gets them out there, and they're like, "Oh my god, this is a blast, dude!"
Yep.
We're like, "Yeah, dude," and you get like not to the same level as in the military, but out on the field, you often get that camaraderie feeling where you're just like, dude, I'm just
Absolutely.
surrounded by people that
Oh yeah.
genuinely like want me to be there and we're having a good time.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're shooting at each other with plastic pellets, but we've got the same vibes.
Oh, for
And
sure.
it's great for the military out here to have that outlet. Like I have got almost a third of my team and my recruits for my team are military, either
Yeah.
Navy, Army, or Marines out here. And we've got 15 team members and about as many recruits. So we've got a good amount of military in our group. And then I've
For
got
sure.
easily 100 military I know that come out to the field on the regular.
Right.
And some of them are like, dude, man, you have no idea how just relaxing it is for me to come out here and just blast stuff for the day. It just
Bro,
helps me de-stress.
what a difference, because the training, the fun training that we get to do in the military is serious. Like it's not it's fun because we're shooting. We're doing, though we're doing those things that we want. That's why we went in the military kind of thing. But it's serious. and you're getting like there's no joking around. I mean, we still joke around, but it's mostly pretty serious. So like when I got out, I was doing paintball, but very similar experience with, we played woodland paintball and stuff, and it was the same thing. It was like we were able to, a lot of the guys I played with were vets, and we were able to use that, that we had the camaraderie, we had the, hey man, we're friends right now, but as soon as we get on opposite sides of the woods, fuck you. Okay, I'm gonna fuck you up.
It's funny you should say that. We actually had in one of our events earlier this year, one of the Fallout ones. So what with those, especially the Fallout and some of the other stuff like that, is we want it to essentially be real life video games. So it's not anywhere near as serious as a milsim. Yes, there's objectives. Yes, there's stuff your team's trying to do, but we're trying to make real life video games where people can do what do you want to do in the game, right? Do you want to focus on killing enemy players, hunting them down? Do you want to focus on defense and holding this region? Do you want to focus on going out and finding the props that are littered across the field worth points? Or do you want to go crawl behind enemy lines and set up as a spotter and sit back and radio calls back? You can do so much. Like we have some of our events, there's literally guys who never pull the trigger because they're role playing or they're doing something that they're like, oh no, I don't want to fight. I want to do this. And they come out and have a blast. But yeah, we had these two guys that were like border guards along this border between two teams, and they're like 120 feet apart, right, looking at each other. Hey, you! What's your name? John. You, John. And just back and forth at each other, and then they start just like ooga boogaaing at each other, and then they start playing rock paper scissors back and forth. Oh. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, just gunfire erupts, and everyone starts diving for cover, and just the all-out brawl. And it was just so fun, man, watching just the shenanigans that happen. Because like, there's a lot of great companies and great teams that host really serious events. American Milsim West, Operation Lion Claws, just to name a few. And they do a really great job with that. Right. They do a great job with that. And I tell people, if you're looking for Milsim, those are the guys to go to. 100%, you will enjoy it. You'll have a great time. I'm not a milsim guy, at least not my events. Like I'm a much more casual, fun, just themed stuff where it's really a lot of LARPing and role playing, but there's still obviously lots of combat and everything.
Sure.
But it's more focused on just every single person sitting down and enjoying themselves and having fun. It's not super serious. Right. Because there's groups that don't necessarily want to play that in events. Right. And there's groups that host events like that are really, really good at it. I don't know how I would do hosting a super serious event, to be honest. Yeah. I don't think I would do super well because I've never been to a milsim, right? Yeah. I haven't been to a milsim yet, not a proper one. I've helped with a couple of Operations Lion Claws games being hosted at Giant as a ref. And those were not very serious ones. Those were more kind of like mine. And it's great, but I really love the LARPing, the role playing. Like it's just so much more immersive, like you feel like you're really in it. And we have all kinds of fun stuff we do. Like I'm not going to chat about everything we do in the events, but we've got, in-game currency we supply, props, medic system, combat system, prisoner system. There's tons to it. Like the event guide is pages and pages. And we've used a lot of community feedback on our events. Like we ask, hey, guys, what did you like? What did you not like? So we can help to improve our events. And what we've started doing is we do 3 of our event in a row to find out, okay, what works best for this style. Right. Because what happens on pen and paper does not necessarily mean it's going to work at all.
Exactly.
Once it's in effect.
Yep.
And there's definitely been 2 events where I had to mid-event correct stuff because I was like, nope, that sounded great on paper, looks great on the map, does not work. Does not work. But that's part of events, man. Like it's the same with walk-on. It's the same all throughout the sport. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work, and you gotta readjust.
For sure. Now, what's your guys' biggest event so far that you've hosted?
110.
Okay.
So not too big.
No,
not anywhere like a milsim level.
What kind of scenario is it? Like what's
the
most
Fallout.
Popular one?
The Fallout, 100%. 100%
really?
Fallout's the most popular. Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you have people that dress up like the Fallout characters, and that's awesome, dude. Yeah.
We actually have a local team that came out to most of our Fallout events. I don't think they made the last 2. Team NCR. You can guess who who they were designed off of. So they were like the New California Republic from Fallout.
Oh shit! Right.
Fallout 2 and Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas, and they had Fallout New Vegas patches. They had New California patches. They were working on getting like a full Ranger loadout, like an actual Desert Ranger looking guy or an NCR Ranger looking guy. We're actually probably going to have one of those in our next one that we do that's New Vegas themed, which won't be until 2024 most likely. But yeah, we started out with basically nothing. Like we had boxes that we taped together and filled with dirt and labeled things, you know, ammo, meds, drugs, food, water, and you know, all this stuff. It was super bare bones basic. And then we had pennies and bottle currency system that we handed out to every player. And it grew from there. I had a guy that approached me. He's like, hey, I want to make custom Fallout props for you. I was like, what are you thinking? He goes, well, I've got these Mentats. And it was like a mint tin that he custom printed like a Mentats thing over top of. What? And you would shake it and it had mints in it. And oh my God, that's freaking awesome. Then he took a little small pill bottle and filled it with hot tamales, and it was Radex. You shake it, it sounds like pills, and it's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
And he did something similar with Buff Out. He took apple cider vinegar and blood pouches, like you would give blood in, and poured it into there, and it was Radaway. So it had the color and everything. Like it was so cool, and it was something that I wouldn't have thought necessarily to do. Yeah. And he approached me about it. He's like, "Hey, I want to make it." I was like, "Sure, you give me you give me the cost, the receipt. I will fully pay for all the materials. I'll compensate you for your time, and I'll give you free tickets. Nice. And I'll of course shout you out." And he built a lot of props for us. We had Nuka-Cola 2, we had Nuka-Cola Quantum, we had Cram. So some guys brought some Spam containers and cut out like the SP and put CR for Cram. We do all kinds of cool stuff, man. We had guys build like custom super sledges. I had a guy that came out that approached me to make to commission him to make, you know, some power armor. And I was like, oh, dude, full send. Yeah. So we only got to use it in the last 2 events that we did, but it is like a foam upper body piece that actually looks like from the side like T-45 power armor. And he even like painted it all gray and then painted the Brotherhood of Steel insignia in the center. And it's super lightweight and breathable, so it's not like metal like our first attempt at a power armor suit was. If anyone's watching this and wants to build power armor suit, do not use metal. You will cut yourself. You will overheat. It's a really bad time. Trust me. It did not work at all. And we still yet to make like the armor, leg armor, and the helmet, but you know it's a work in progress. And bit by bit, every event we've put more and more money into props and into other stuff to help increase the immersion even more on the stuff. Yeah. And we've taken feedback from players. Hey, what do you want to see in it? You know, I've taken polls, I've done all this stuff, and one of the ones that's going to be just an absolute nightmare to do, but sounds so cool, is they want to do it in the Deathclaw costume, running around. Shit. So we currently have a guy building a Deathclaw costume, including tail and horns on the head and like long talon fingers. I don't know when it'll be ready. It's probably going to be a while. But, you know, most of, if not all of what we make from these events is going back into either props or it's going to compensate the people who helped with designing and reffing the games. Because this year I've had maybe 1 or 2 field refs for most of them, and everything else is volunteer refs. Guys who are just like, oh, dude, I'm down to come out and help. Let's grow the community. And I've made sure to, you know, groups that are from far away. Like I have groups from 150 plus miles, even some right now from out of state that are contacting me. Hey, we want to come out to your events. And I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Where are you from? I always ask people where they're from. They're like, oh, we're from San Bernardino. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. Well, I can't give you a ticket to where I lose money, but I'll give you a massive discount because it's a heck of a drive to come out. Yeah. And guys who are coming from out of state, I'm like, hey, dude, if you put the effort in to either drive out here or fly out here, I'll pay for your ticket. Yeah. I'll pay for your ticket to play. All I ask is give me a review on what you liked, what you didn't like, and how we can improve. Because having the community actually give us feedback on what we're doing lets me see 150 different views and 150 different, hey, this was cool, but what if we twisted it a little bit? And I'm like, oh my God, it's freaking genius. Let's do that. Why didn't I think of that? Because not every person thinks the same. Every person thinks differently.
Right.
Like I've had suggestions that I literally went, oh my God, that's the simplest thing ever. Why did I not think about that? To things where I'm like, man, that's super complex. Oh my goodness. Okay. But you know, it's really awesome to see the community come together. Like we started with, I think 2 or 3 teams coming out to our stuff. And then at the height, I believe we had 9 airsoft teams coming out to some of our stuff. And that was really awesome. And every time we do our events, I always make sure before we do our raffle, you know, I hand around the megaphone. I forgot this last event. That's ADHD brain. But I give the megaphone around. This guy right here. The living room is cluttered with event prep stuff.
I'm sure.
there was normally stuff here. I moved it to do the video.
Nice. Okay.
But I give it around to all the teams that come out, any of the companies that come out to do a booth and whatnot, because then this group gets to maybe know about this group they didn't know about. Oh, let's follow each other on Instagram. Let's keep in touch. And one thing we're trying to do too is get a bunch of teams here in San Diego and Southern California in general into a big Facebook group where it's the team captains and their second in command, and then it's, hey, I heard about this cool event. Like anytime any team hears about an event from anybody hosting, hey, I heard about this cool event. A couple of my guys want to go. Let's organize a group going out. You know, let's get a group effort together. You know, maybe it's 100 and some odd miles or whatever it is, drive, and let's do a carpool. Let's go out. Let's have fun for the day. Oh yeah, that's a lot easier to do than, oh man, I personally have to drive 100 miles, play the event, and then drive back. You know, it's not even necessarily safe at that point. You're sweating all day and then doing that long of a drive. Nah, man. But, you know, you get that group together. It's so much simpler, so much easier. And it's instead of spending, you know, $50 on gas yourself, it's like everyone chips in $5-10 and you're Gucci. Right. But yeah, that was me rambling there for a bit. All right.
No, it's back great, to you, dude. Friend. It's great. Now, are you from California originally?
Born and raised. Yeah.
In that area?
Yep. I was born in Mission Valley. And I'm now like 10, 15, 20 miles away from Mission Valley in Santee. Yeah. So East County. It's a great place. It's kind of starting to see some areas of it are not so great anymore. We've got El Cajon, or as I like to affectionately call it, Hell Cajon. Man, it's bad.
I've been to El Cajon, well, back in 92, so yeah.
Before I was born. That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, California's a great place. I definitely am looking forward to doing airsoft outside of California. Okay. I just came back a little short while ago from a trip up to Washington to visit family. And there's like almost
do you have siblings or anyone else that's around that area?
In Washington, just my mother and my stepfather. Okay. All the rest of my brother and my immediate family live here in California. And then all of the rest of my family is actually East Coast.
Shit, okay.
Yeah, they're all North and South Carolina.
That's right. Yeah, South Carolina. Hell yeah. Now, is your brother, does he play airsoft at all?
My brother's the most introverted person in the world, literally. Like if you looked up introvert photo, it's all grayed out, so he doesn't want you to see his face, but it's him. Yeah, right there. But yeah, no, like I was saying, I really went up to visit family in Washington. I was checking out the airsoft scene up there, and I was like, oh, dude, I didn't get to play, sadly. But I was like, this is woods, not like, oh, hey, there's some trees. Woods. Yeah. And buddy. It's overcast, and I was like, oh, dude, this would be such a fun place to play. Just didn't have time while I was up there. But there's 2 outdoor fields and I think there's one indoor field right within 40 miles of Seattle. More or less, that I'm definitely going to try and hit up the next time I'm up there. And definitely want to start hitting more fields just in general. Like, I've been in the sport for since 2019, mid 2019, and I've only played at like 4 fields.
Gotcha.
Kind of bad.
Have you played Speed QB at all, like indoor?
I've played indoor. Indoor private games I really like, especially if the host is a good dude. Like Storm, the games he was doing at N1, like we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Really clean games, really cool attitude. The atmosphere there was just awesome. I didn't play that one because I was in I was wearing flip flops. I wasn't expecting to play. I was just coming to hang out because it was a private party and it was all sold out. And I was like, oh well, that's too bad. I'll play next time. Got there and it was like, oh no, some people didn't show up. I'm like, I should have known to bring boots and gear just in case.
Yeah.
Damn it. So I haven't played N1 yet, but I was there hanging out with him. Definitely gonna go back and do like a private party there at some time. But for me, like, I'm really not a speed soft guy. I totally understand people that enjoy that sport, and I'm fully supportive of people that play the sport. It's a great way to play airsoft. It's just not my preference.
Yeah.
So the indoor games that I've played for walk-on games, not really my jam, man. Not really my jam, especially because I'm like borderline epileptic. And when you got that flashing lights, they just flash their flashlights like nuts.
Yep.
And I'm like, nope. I'm gonna go puke. I'm good. Pass. Hard pass. But you know, private stuff, total blast. I mean, if you play with people that all have, you know, going into it the right attitude, the right mindset, and they're like, hey, dude, no one's here to be, you know, mean or cruel to each other, and you know, let's all agree, you know, let's have some good games, have some good vibes, good attitudes. And in that regard, yeah, I've played some great indoor games. Definitely prefer outdoor. I'm a bit of a bush Wookie. Okay. I love crawling through. Dude, there's that my home field, man. I've literally like broken trails through the brush where I like break the bush just above the dirt and then push it up and make like a tunnel, and I'll just snake through the holes like a little snake. Oh, dude, it's a blast. No, I've had several times where I sneak completely past the entire team, pop up, and then waddle my butt up behind him and just in the back. Friendly fire. No, it's not. In the back. Which is a total blast. I mean, going head to head is obviously super fun too. It's just that feeling of sneaking past an entire line of people. You're just like, victory. Even though I usually get clapped by like 12 people as soon as I start opening fire, but totally worth it regardless.
Right.
But yeah, definitely a preference for outdoor myself.
Okay. Now, how did you? You said you started airsoft in 2019. What did somebody get you into it?
Yes. So the team leader of the first team I ever joined, Syndicate 404. They're no longer a team anymore. I believe their page is still up on Instagram. It's just, hey, this team is gone now, but they're still saving their stuff, which I totally respect, and I think is awesome. And at the time, I'd met the team leader by door knocking, by soliciting. I was working in home remodeling at the time. I kid you not. And he and I chatted for a bit, and we kept in touch. I would contact him every once in a while, you know?
Yeah.
And eventually we actually met up to hang out because we were both Norse enthusiasts. And I was like, yeah, dude, let's kick it. And we start kicking it, and he and I enjoyed hanging out with each other. So he brought me out to the field to try it because he'd been airsofting for like 12, 13 years at that point. And I tried it, and I immediately fell in love. Like, I'd had airsoft guns as a kid, those clear, like, see-through plastic ones that were just awful spring guns. And those all got broken by other people.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And you know, it was so much fun. I was like, oh, dude, I need to come back. And, like, one of the first or second times I ever went out, not first or second, but, like, very early into me playing, I actually won my first gun in a Derringer battle. So, like, you know those, like, small little, like, awful yellow BBs that are, like, 10,000 in a bucket, and they come with a little itty-bitty tiny spring pistol inside?
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So, some guys had those that day because they were new to the sport, and they went to Big Five to buy stuff, which, if you're ever going to buy airsoft gear, guys, do not go to Big Five. Go to an actual airsoft retailer. The airsoft stuff at Big Five. So it's a sporting goods here in California, and I don't know if I think they have branches elsewhere, but don't buy airsoft guns from a sporting goods store, gentlemen. Buy airsoft guns from an airsoft store or online, and definitely talk with people before you make purchases to get recommendations and stuff. Because man, it was funny. Like, these things are like literally about these guns. They're about this big.
Yeah, the Derringers, they're tiny.
They're just tiny. And they had this little itty bitty magazine, and you had to rack it every time. So me and this other guy, forget how we got chosen for it, but we were chosen to be back to back, right? And we each had one, and we stood back to back, and then walked away from each other, and then all right, spin and shoot. And he and I, we both had the same thought for whatever reason. We both spun around like Neo and dove at each other.
Jesus.
gun first, smashed into the ground, and we both look at each other, and we both missed. And we both just looking at each other confused, and we look up at the guy. He's like, well, and I go, oh, and I rack it again and blast the dude point blank. He's like, all right, there you go. You win. I won a G&G Raider combat machine. No, I think it was just the G&G CM16 Raider, which honestly is a great starter gun for airsoft. Like, I recommend G&G hands down for first time guns.
100%.
Even for backup primaries or just good guns in general, they're just reliable and they're easily upgradable. They're really good guns. I recommend their brand immensely. But yeah, I won. I won literally a Derringer battle.
That's crazy. Okay. So when you were at that first game before the Derringer battle, what were you shooting? What gun were you using?
So I was borrowing friends on the team. So Syndicate, before I officially joined them, I was borrowing their kit. I mean, dude, between the guys that were on that team, they probably had $40,000, $50,000 worth of airsoft. Like they had a lot of airsoft. And I mean, most of them have been in the sport for a very long time. So you just tend to collect guns and stuff when you're in airsoft for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was borrowing some of their stuff. I think I used a rental gun once or twice. And then I got the G&G, and I just started using G&G. Slowly started picking up kit here and there and here and there. But yeah, Syndicate was integral to me playing, and they helped teach me airsoft. I grew up with them in the team. The team grew, and they were the sponsored airsoft team at my home field before me. And then there was just it was a pretty bad falling out between them and I. I'm not going to go into any details. I really respect all the guys that were on the team. I respect the team leader, Dagan. He's a great dude. He's since joined another team, 5150, out here in California. Another great team.
Okay. Yeah.
5150 Tactical. Look them up on Instagram. They're great dudes. Their team leader Ethan would be a great dude for you to get up on here. He's a super cool community mindset guy. But yeah, and I think it was 2021 I ended up splitting. Yeah, it was 2021. So I was with them from like mid 2019 to early 2021 with Syndicate. And Syndicate grew while I was with them, and the team leader and others in the team helped grow it, as well as myself. And we did, I think, a handful of small scale events at Giant. There's a super fun zombie event that was super successful. That was really cool. I won't go into details for that because it's their events, and I don't want people necessarily copying their stuff because I've said I won't speak about it. Anyway.
Well, have you seen Balahack? Balahack, talking about the LARPing stuff, bro. Is popular when his zombie event has 900 people, 1,000 people. People are, that's a very popular thing, into airsoft. All the LARPing stuff, the role playing.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're starting to lean into it more and more. Like I want to hit 200 at some of our events this year and fully close out the park. And eventually, in years from now, I'll be opening my own fields and partnering with the guys who've helped me grow Giant Sports and the home field and the guys there that I wouldn't have grown without. And
is that where you started?
I really want to create
Giant.
Yeah, GiantSanDiego has always been my home.
Okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yep. GiantSanDiego has been my home, man. That's my home field for sure. It's the first field I played at. I've probably played. Oh God. 200 walk-on games, if not more, in the 3 years that I've been there. I for there, dude. I was literally every Saturday, every Sunday, almost without fail. And even now, I'm back pretty much at that point, unless I'm doing something for an event elsewhere, or I have some super pressing thing to do, or I'm doing Renaissance stuff, which I also do.
Were you into that before airsoft?
Yes. Yeah, I used to do SCA, which was full contact stuff for a little tiny bit. But
what's SCA?
So it's guys in full armor whacking at each other with like actual weapons. They're just not sharpened. I barely got my toes into that. So I'm not.
How'd you get into the Renaissance thing?
My stepdad did it. He did it for a long time. SCA was a huge passion of his. He's part of a longship crew and spent a lot of years and a lot of money on that stuff. That sport, dude, so much more expensive than airsoft. I mean, just a simple base. Oh yeah, I mean, you're in anywhere from low ball a couple G's to like 20 G to fully get everything you need for it. Like it's insane.
Is it
And then
like
you're
you're talking like
talking
the
about,
like chain mail and shit like that? Is you have to get that shit custom or buy like
yep.
that
And
stuff's
you have to make
expensive.
sure it's impact rated. You have to make sure, yeah, dude, there's so much stuff. Like
Oh
it
my
list
god!
for it makes the list for like a milsim requirements for airsoft look like, look at how tiny that is. No, it's crazy the stuff you need to have. And it
Holy
all needs to be able
shit!
to actually like sustain a real hit. But I've been
Damn.
doing Renaissance Fair stuff off and on for years. I was actually just
Okay.
at one on Sunday here in Escondido. And we're going to start trying to do something similar, do some like LARP fairs and stuff,
Mm.
as well as airsoft events. But yeah, no, I wouldn't have gotten where I was today without Syndicate 404, without meeting Dagan, and without the support from my home field, man. I really wouldn't have, or the support from over a dozen teams that I've met in my time out here in airsoft. And I really, dude, if I could go back in time and change anything, I would have wanted to meet them all earlier and get into the sport earlier. It's just
Right.
such a great sport, man, and the community is just awesome. Uh, but yeah, after I split from, I was removed. I was planning to split, and I was removed beforehand. There
Yeah.
was some, it wasn't a great falling out. It's unfortunate.
That's a
And then
that's a real common thing though, man. Most people I've talked with, they start out with a team or whatever, especially the CQB teams. The Speed QB. It's really
yeah.
really common. It's really common, and
Well,
and some of them, I mean, it's like your friend's parents getting divorced. It's like there's some of them that stay friends after and can are civil and can talk and stuff, and some of them they're not at that point yet. It was
yeah.
such bad feelings at the time that it's kind of still they're still not able to really like, hey, we're not friends right now. So eventually, usually it goes away. That kind of feeling, fades with time. But that's a really, really common story of what I've heard.
Yeah, unfortunately, because the thing is, like, I always tell people I turn away more people that want to join my team than I accept because I'm looking for a very specific group of people. Like, I'm not trying to discriminate against people,
Right.
but you need to have the right mindset, right? And you need to be able to vibe and hang out with every single member of my team.
Yeah.
So if you do the team and you're like, man, I hate that guy, that's just going to tear the team apart and cause issues. So it's like, I'm sorry, I'm still obviously going to play with you. You're a cool dude, but where you are right now, I just don't want you on my team, unfortunately.
Right.
But it's not a no forever. It's a no right now.
Right.
Because people grow, people change, and I would love to have a lot of the people that I've said no to say yes to them. I really would, because growing the sport and growing the community and growing my team is just a huge passion of mine, man. And
there's a few teams I've talked with that actually do a tryout. So they have there's these guys that do they do strictly milsims, right? And to get on their team or to be a part of their team officially, they go through Hell Day. Okay, like one of the Miami Infidels, the Kentucky Infidels, and then the Tryhards. They're in Florida.
Tryhards, I love that name,
bro. Yes, Laz. They're an awesome group of people. I've had them on the podcast twice, actually. So, but anyway, Kentucky Infidels is run by a retired Marine who is fucking gung ho, hard charging. Got out of the Corps and started his, he started an airsoft store. So he started a team, and what he does, he puts them through like a boot camp, bro. Like fucking boot camp. I mean, and he don't care whoever you are, you've got to make it to the end of this day. If you quit, you're out. But he don't let you quit. And then I'm talking, bro, these guys are going so hard. They're like passing out, puking, fucking all kind of shit. They're crawling through the creek, through the mud, lifting. Like, dude, it's all team. You have to work together as a team. They're carrying heavy logs, just like you see in the military training shit. He's doing that with them. I had him and Miami Infidels on the podcast together. It was great, man. It was so motivating. But there's some teams that do that. They'll do the tryouts. And the thing is, when they do that, as hard as that is with everybody, they have to bond together. Like, if you hate this guy in the beginning, you ain't hating them in the end because you're helping each other and you're all puking in
and
the
your
same
success
fucking
depends
mud.
on each other, 100%.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. I haven't met anyone that's that hardcore about it.
Right.
But I like the idea. Actually, that'd be awesome to watch and to potentially have to go through, just to see what it felt like. But
right.
Personally, the way I view it is I don't care what your skill level is for airsoft for my team, because anyone can learn, given time they can. What matters way more importantly to me is how do you behave on and off the field? Are you honorable on and off the field? Your character. Now, I heard this great thing a couple years ago in airsoft. It was airsoft doesn't build integrity; it reveals integrity. You either have it or you don't, and that is so true, man. From my experiences, like I have run into people that just they're not fun to play with, you know.
Right.
And then I just go, you know what? You have fun being you. I'm gonna go play a private party. I don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
I don't want anything to do with it. And it sucks that it happens, but it's not worth destroying yourself or like getting frustrated and angry and throwing a hissy fit about, man. Like, but anyway, yeah, no, that's really cool. I really like that thought of doing like hardcore tryouts like that. That's crazy. Yeah. It's cool. It's a cool concept. I know a lot of local teams here do have like tryouts for people to join. And skill level to me, just it's not that important because, like I said, we're not like a competitive team. We're not. Right. We're a very casual team.
Yeah.
And there's people on my team that dedicate, 3 to 4 days a month, if not more, to coming out to the field and playing, which is a lot for most people.
Yeah.
And there's people who come out once a month. I'm usually at the field 10 to 15 days a month, sometimes on weekdays, doing construction, doing event prep. We actually have our first Friday afternoon to night games at our home field this Friday that I'm helping the field run.
This will be the first night game?
Yeah, so they've done stuff before, but it's super intermittent. And this is the start of what we hope becomes a bi-weekly thing, where it's every 2 weeks, Friday night, we're doing games 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then hours will fluctuate a little bit based on, light level and whatnot. But opening up, a new opportunity for people that work on the weekends to still come out and get their airsoft fix. Yep. And also opening up that night game thing. A lot of people like night games. Love night games. Personally, not a game guy. Especially a field that has wildlife and ankle breaker holes and lots of uneven terrain. Like, I'm good. Like, I'll still play, but I'm gonna go very, very slowly. I'm not full sending it like I would in a walk-on game in the day. But
for sure.
We're trying to grow the community. We're trying to make sure that people can play and that people have a good time. And that's what it's all about. That's what grows airsoft. Like I send people, like I'm partnered with a guy who has an airsoft shooting range in store, and he operates a Nerf arena too in a local mall. And cool. I partially work for him, partially partnered with him. It's a weird conundrum. But people come in and they come shopping, and we don't have what they want because we're still growing. It's a very new business. And I'm like, hey, you should check out this other airsoft store or this other airsoft store. They might have what you need. People are like, oh, why are you sending them elsewhere for business? Like, I don't have what they need. Why would I tell them to stay here and maybe we'll get it in the future? Like, we're all the same community, man. Right. We all need to grow. And if I don't have something, I'm more than happy to refer them to someone who does. Just like I tell people that play at our home field, hey, have you tried out this field? Have you tried out this field?
Right.
Play at multiple fields. Like, those people who play at only one field, they eventually get burned out, man. They really do, because they play the same thing all the time, constantly, and it becomes almost like a routine, and you lose that spark and that drive a little bit. Like, not all the time, but a lot of the time.
Well, sure. I mean, that's like video games. You play the same Halo map 1,000 times. You play. Want to play something different. I mean, it's classic. For sure. Now, you're the Brotherhood thing. What? Who started that, and how did that start? And how did you guys come up with the name and all that kind of thing?
So it started literally the day that I was removed from Syndicate. I'd already been planning to build it before then. It was a plan months in the making. I was planning to leave under much better, graceful terms than what happened, which is unfortunate, but it happens. And I started on January 7th or either January 7th or January 9th of 2021 last year. And then we started, doing some private parties at first, because at first we were discriminated against by former team members of the old team and stopped from doing stuff because they were in a position of management at the field at the time. Gotcha. So we weren't allowed to ref walk on airsoft or do it. They shut us down before we could, get going. And I was like, that's too bad. That's a shame, but whatever. I'll just do private parties. So I arranged it and we started doing private parties. People really loved them. And then the team that I used to be a part of, Syndicate, just slowly dissolved more and more until it was eventually just no longer coming out at all. So they lost their sponsorship, and then my team got sponsored and started reffing walk-on, doing construction, doing all this stuff. And then we started planning our first events. So events were supposed to be November and December of 2021. They ended up getting pushed back to January. I'll talk later. But the name came from wanting something that drew people together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want it to be a feeling of inclusiveness. And unfortunately, we sometimes get comments like, "Oh, it's a racist thing. It's two white hands on a background." Oh, that's not at all what we're trying to do at all. I
would have never thought
good.
that. I
pops.
guess, yeah.
Well, dude. Well, also part of the issue is my hometown Santee. My hometown Santee kind of has some bad racist history. So we started designing new logo designs that are a white and a black hand, or other stuff just together, and it's stupid drama that I didn't think I would ever have to deal with when I made the team. But it's 2022. We're woke. Everything's bad. Everything's unpolitically correct. But yeah, and funnily enough, shortly after we started the team, it grew really rapidly with local players. That a lot of them then left to go to college, but we had a bunch of women that were actually wanting to join the team, and they're like, "Oh, can we join?" I'm like, "Of course you can join."
Yeah,
but the name's Brotherhood. I was like, yeah, that doesn't mean it's men only.
Yeah,
we're not trying to exclude people.
General, yeah, it's a general term.
Yeah,
it's a brotherhood of people. It's
If I wanted to say men only, I would have said fraternity.
Right? Right.
But no,
because when we were in the Marine Corps is considered a brotherhood, and that includes women Marines as well. We're all together.
And we've been promoting just good community vibes, good community attitudes, and making sure everyone feels like they're having fun and everyone feels included. And that includes the people that cause problems. That does. Now, if they start causing problems, I'm going to approach them about it and do what is within my power, or refer it to a manager to deal with it. But in our events, in all of our private parties and all of our events that we've done in 2021 and up all the way until this last month when we did our most recent one, we've had well over 2,000 players total. Wow. Between all of them. And I've never once had to remove someone. That's how to do it.
No, man.
Never once.
Most people will, once they get around everybody, they understand it's about mutual respect,
Mm-hmm. And I go over that in the safety briefs. I go over, hey man, the second one person starts toxicity and one person starts yelling, it's a snowball effect, man. It gets worse and worse and worse. And I tell people before at the beginning of the day in safety brief, I do not want to hear any person today yelling, "Call your hit." I don't want to hear it. Not a single time do I want to hear it. What I want to hear is ref, get my attention or the attention of my other refs so that we can get to you as quickly as possible and go, what's the issue? I think that guy over there is cheating. Cool. I will walk through the middle of a gunfight, taking BBs the whole time, and I will go and I will watch. Oh, hey, buddy, you got hit. Oh, did I? Yeah. Sometimes you get hit and kit. You don't feel it, genuinely.
Right.
Now, if I ever catch people, and I do cheater check with a gun when I ref, if I ever catch people, they get hit and do that kind of, you know what I'm talking about, No, I think I don't see anyone, so that means I didn't get hit.
Yeah.
I kick them out, but that's never happened. It's literally never happened. I've had to tell people, hey, you're hit. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, right there. And I flick where they get hit, and they're like, dude, I didn't feel that. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It happens. Walk to respawn, please. I've had guys that, you got as a ref as best you can and make sure that everyone's having fun. Sometimes that means you got to sit down with two players after a match and be like, hey, let me hear your side. Let me hear your side. All right, Here's my verdict. Shake hands. Good vibes going forward. Good vibes.
Yeah.
Good attitude. We're all playing the same sport, the same game, man. We just want to have fun. We want to get our money's worth of fun and camaraderie out here, and then we want to go home and drink a beer and go to bed.
Yeah, right.
Just get through life.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, our team started hosting Walk On about 4 or 5 months after we formed in 2021. Okay. We hosted Walk On all the way through into early 2022, and then I started realizing, man, like I'd rather do private stuff. I'd rather do private stuff where I've got a lot more flexibility with what I can do. I've got a lot more freedom, and it's not necessarily.
So what's the difference?
So our games are almost always
like what's the difference between a walk-on that you're doing or the private?
So the walk-ons, I've got easily 30 game modes that I've written. Everything from something I call generals, which is each team has a guy who's their general. So he gets taped up with extra tape, right?
Yeah.
And there's 3 ways to win the game. You can either push your general all the way to the enemy team. You can completely kill everyone on the enemy team. Or you can shoot the enemy general, at which point, if a general gets hit, they take a knee, put their hand up, and they have to be medicked by someone, 10 taps, or captured by an enemy player, also 10 taps. If an enemy player captures them, hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're my prisoner. General stands up, and they follow behind them at a walking pace. And if you manage to capture the enemy general and pull them all the way back to your spawn, you win. So there's 3 ways to win. It's a super fun, little interesting game. Yeah. I've seen games that lasted 30 minutes. I've seen games that lasted 45 seconds.
Damn.
Yeah, dude, they blitzed. They just full send charged down one side of the field.
Yeah.
And just absolutely caught the other team with their trousers down and blitzed them. And almost half their team died in doing it, but they managed to get their general all the way to the enemy spawn, and half the enemy team didn't even know that the enemy team had gotten through. They were focused on their side. And so they're charging forward. All right, let's go. Game's over. They're like, what? And they turn around and they see the enemy general in their spawn. They're like, what?
Whoa. Oh
yeah, dude,
God,
it was super funny. I was laughing. I'm so mad I didn't get it recorded, dude. It was so funny.
So as an event coordinator like yourself, you got so when you say walk on, is that like how does that work for you? You have to go to the field.
So I rent out the field. Yeah, I rent out the field essentially. I rent out a portion of it to run the event.
How is that different from the private one? You said you want to do the private ones better or more?
So when we do private stuff, it's usually 1 or 2 fields, and it's very simple game modes, usually like generals or some other stuff. Now, when we do our events, like the events that we're doing last month, this month, and next month are very simple. They're the simplest ones we've done all year. It's a team-based battle royale. It's not the best name for it, but it is what it is. So basically, the first game we did was 10 teams of up to 8 players. And then they're fighting across 3 entire fields, so multiple acres of land, for control of respawn points. So at the start of the day, every team starts in a location, but they can't respawn there. It's strictly their start point. And they have to go forward and claim a respawn point, which are these spray-painted poles. They slap their faction flag in it, their color flag into it. Boom, you've now got a respawn. Each team's got a couple medics, too, and some light machine gunners. We do restrict full auto to only belt-fed light machine gun platforms or heavy machine gun platforms, and they're still limited on their full auto, so it's not, take a 10-second burst to the face. No one likes that. But they still have... Hey, look out, kitty. And then if you claim a respawn point, you can respawn there, right? And if you shoot an enemy player and they're downed, you can run up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're my prisoner, follow me. Escort them to a respawn point that's controlled by your team. They're eliminated from that gameplay round. But at the start of the next gameplay round, they can come back in. So being aggressive and killing enemy players, but not only killing them, actually going and capturing them to fully eliminate them while they're in their bleed out is super important. Because if that enemy team has a respawn point that they've captured and their player sits there dead for 2 minutes and they finish their countdown, cool, 120-second bleed out, stand up, go to my respawn, grab the respawn for a couple seconds, respawn in. Now, if you shoot them and you can get to them and capture them and eliminate them, maybe they hold a respawn point. That's great, but you've got one less player you got to worry about now. So we had some teams in the first one that we did that eliminated 3 teams by themselves. Like they were hyper aggressive. I mean, just blitz the enemy teams.
Yeah.
And they were more of like kind of speed softy players, but they're like what I like to call mill speed. Yeah. So they're speed softy, but play more like standard traditional walk on mill sim games. Gotcha. And they're a local team collective, awesome dudes. And they actually fully eliminated an entire enemy team in the first 3 minutes of one of the rounds.
Damn.
Yeah, just absolutely shreked them. And so I let that team respawn, which caused some issues later on. So I'm not going to do that. But what we've learned from that was, okay, once you get eliminated, come to this set staging area that's just outside of field bounds, right? When you're fully eliminated as a player, come here. And I grab one of my refs and I'm like, hey, is that field in use right now? No walk-on parties or private parties are using it. Cool. Have them play just a little scrimmage game while we wait for the rest of this gameplay round to end. Because since it's a game that you can be eliminated in, you still want to get your gameplay time in. If you get eliminated 5 or even 20 minutes into a game, you're still missing a significant portion of that round because they're 30-minute rounds. But then every 30-minute round, we change where a team spawns. So a team doesn't spawn in the same place twice. They're constantly moving around, so they can't form tactics based on the last game.
Exactly.
It's, haha, good luck. Figure it out. You've got a few minutes.
Mix it up.
And they don't know where their spawn point is until we're walking onto the field. They have no idea. So they can't plan stuff ahead of time. But what we do is we actually have give me 1 second, I'll go grab one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what we've started doing is we have laminated copies of the field layouts. We've been doing this almost all year. I think we missed the first 1 or 2 events for this, but we've got little small, easily put in a pocket maps that have the entire field layout on them, and they show the staging area, they show what's out of bounds, and then what we have too is, they're not labeled on this one. Damn. We forgot to do that. So there's 2 areas within the field bounds normally that are on here. One's right about there. Oh, there's kind of a glare.
Okay.
And there's another one over here that are these small little 4-wall buildings that the windows are all netted up. So it's hard for paintballs to shoot in. And what we're doing is we're putting plexiglass and screwing it in so it's completely impossible to shoot inside.
Gotcha.
And we're going to be adding like some nice little simple door things and a tarp roof. And they're safe zones. So our game modes, like this last event and this month and next month, are our shortest game modes, 30 minutes. We've had game modes of 90 minutes of continuous gameplay. And then a break, 90 minutes of continuous gameplay, and then a break, and then 90 minutes of continuous gameplay. And those were the Fallout events, and people loved them. They had an absolute blast in them.
Right.
And it gives you a lot of time to make small gains that matter in the long run.
Yeah.
Right? Because, great, you broke through the enemy line right now. You got to hold it, bro. There's still 45, 30, whatever minutes of gameplay left.
Yeah.
And like how we have the respawn markers in the current one where you have to respawn there, there's stuff like that are claim points in those. And the more you own, the more points you get at the end of a round. And then at the very end of the day, all your points from owning territory get added up, as well as your points for props that are hidden throughout the entire map layout. And there's other ways to score points too, like capturing enemy leaders and certain other things. We have bounty systems. There's tons of stuff in it. And a lot of it, like I'd say at least 50% of the stuff that we implement as game mechanics now were stuff that was suggested to us by players or by team members of my team or another team.
Yeah. And
they've really helped just make it a super fun, immersive experience for everyone. But also, like people love having a say in it. You know what I mean? They really enjoy having their opinions listened to. And whether they're great opinions or sometimes not the greatest opinions, I love listening to them, because it gives me a view into what the community wants.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple other teams that do that as well, and really listen to the community. And I think that's what ultimately is going to make an event host successful. Yeah. Because if you do something that you like, that may not draw as big of a crowd as if you do something the community likes. And they'll still have fun, I'm sure, and they'll still keep hosting. But I'm not trying to make any other groups or teams look bad when I'm saying this. Kind of sounds like that now that I'm hearing it back in my head. At some point. But yeah, no, it's a ton of fun. We've learned a lot. We've grown a lot from the beginning of this year, man. And I can't wait to see what we do next year. Like this is actually a prime example. One of the guys who does paintball events out at the park that we do stuff at.
Yeah.
This is an old, like this thing's got to be at least 2 years old, I think. Map layout from multiple maps. It's actually more or less the same map as what we're using here.
Yeah.
Now that I look at it, funnily enough. And they screw these onto walls and whatnot so that you could see the map layout in the event. And I saw that years ago. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I should definitely do something like that. But what about handheld? You get
right.
like every faction, every team has a couple of small maps. And then what we want to do on the back moving forward here, we haven't had time to implement it yet because I've been kind of rushed on getting stuff for this next one, is do like basic safety rules and then some faction specific stuff. If there's faction specific stuff, like, hey, the Raiders faction specifically is looking for this thing. So I would issue those maps to the Raiders and they'd be like, oh, cool. That's what we're doing. Because I have learned airsofters, especially ones like myself, have the attention span of goldfish at times. And by the time safety brief is over, they have forgotten 80% of what was talked about in safety brief.
Oh, dude. Listen, one of the guys I talked with, we had this whole, 20-minute conversation about safety briefs and just how there needs to be a change. Now, this is a guy that goes to MilSims, like mostly MilSim West hosted games. So, he's been to a ton. I mean, a lot of MilSims.
What's his name?
What's that?
What's his name?
Oh, Austin from Blue Mag Airsoft.
Also look him up.
Blue Mag Airsoft sells BBs. So here in America, in fact, the podcast that comes out Veterans Day next Friday, I did with him. He's an Army vet, and I had him on and Hell Yeah Airsoft. It's not Hell Yeah but it's Hale. His last name's Hale. So he's Hell Yeah Airsoft. So you could look both those guys up on Instagram. But Blue Mag Airsoft.
I literally just looked up Blue Mag Airsoft and followed him.
Austin.
We sell airsoft bio BBs.
Yeah, dude.
Veteran owned, player operated. See, this is the kind of stuff I want to support. I'm definitely going to have to shoot him a message because we need a BB sponsor to get my team fully equipped. Because I hate using non-bio BBs too, man.
Business goals too, man. Yeah, you'll definitely reach out to him. Yep. Yeah, get your BBs from there for sure. Yeah, he's got anyway, we had this long conversation about the safety briefs and how man, they're just painful. They're so painful to listen to. And I mean, they're necessary evil. They have to go through it, legally, liability wise, whatever. So it has to be, he's like, man, I just got to figure out a way to streamline this process. It's so just arduous, just sitting here for this, so it takes so long.
Yeah. But, anywhere from 15 to an hour long safety brief, depending on factors. Yeah. I mean, I've watched safety briefs ramble on for more than 45 minutes. We've had some lengthy ones ourselves because we have to go over all the field rules first and foremost. And then we have to go over our special stuff. And some of our Fallout stuff has just many things in it, dude. One of them we had 5 factions in one, dude. Wow. We had 5 factions in.
They each have their own rules and
so they each had specific things they were going for, and then they all had general stuff they were going for. And that didn't work. It was a ton of fun. Everyone had a blast that day, but I was like, that's too many factions. There's some confusion. People were like, wait, am I fighting these guys or these guys? You're fighting everybody. No one is friends with anyone except for the traitor faction, which was going around with a little wheelbarrow, right? Buying and selling items with the in-game currency. They even had ammo of different weights that they stole for the bottle caps. Cool. Yeah, so you could go and be like, hey, I need 500 BBs .2s. Okay, here. That'll be 87 caps. And then you sit there and do a little transaction. They sold speed loaders. They had dummy grenades. They had melee weapons, plasma weapons, shields, tons of stuff. And then one of my favorite suggestions from the community was one of my team members. I think it was my team member. Pretty sure it was my team member. It was like almost a year ago now. That was like, hey, what if the trader, because he's going around with a wheelbarrow, takes a trash bag and pays people in-game currency to bring him trash off the field? And I was like, oh my freaking God.
Dude.
That's genius.
Right?
It cleans up the field, and they're getting an in-game reason to do so. And oh my God, that's genius.
Hey, listen, bro.
So we started it.
Oh, speaking of that, okay, coming up with good ideas for cleanup. My wife and I we've been married 30 years. We have 5 kids. They're all grown. But when they were little, yeah, bro, 5 and 7 years. So they're all close together. Our household was crazy for a lot of years. But when they're little and they have friends over, we have a birthday party or some kind of shit like that. So there's 20 kids at our house, in our yard, and just fucking trash and confetti and it's destroyed. Tornado of shit everywhere. And so I'm like, bro, we're exhausted from setting everything up and watching all these kids and talking with all the parents and all that, the whole thing. I'm like, I'm not cleaning this shit up. Oh, hey kids, come here. I got a contest. And I'll bring out whatever, some kind of candies or something, and, Snickers bars or chocolate or something. Whoever gets the most trash in your little bag, get them a grocery bag, gets this. Ready, go. They don't even know. They don't have time to like analyze. Wait. Yep. What?
Yeah, no,
but
something
that ends when they're like 8 and 9. They're like, we know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, something we're trying to implement, not this year, but starting next year, is we're actually going to have more refs. So we average about 6, between anywhere from the lowest we've had is like 5, all the way up to 10 refs for 100 or less people. So there's a lot of refs. And there's stationary ones, there's roving ones, because we want a really clean game. And most of these guys, if not all of these guys, are completely volunteer refs, where they're going out because they want the game to be fun. Right. Which is super awesome to see. And we are going to have some of them have drills and screws. And we will have pallets, plywood, 4x4s, 2x4s, piled at the home bases of factions. And it's like, hey, pick it up, assemble something, hold it in place, and the ref will screw it together. You can fortify your base how you see fit.
Like a fucking Fortnite game.
Yeah, pretty well. That's I kind of see. Yeah. I didn't think about it like that. But the goal was to give just player choice in how they want to defend and build their defenses for their area. That's cool. And then we just really easily disassemble it. Just unscrew the screws, put it all down, and then next time, all right, who wants to assemble something different? Put it up. All right, disassemble it. We've got some other cover ideas that we're doing to make things at our home field non-static. So things will constantly be changing. We're boarding and unboarding windows. We're adding new cover that's portable in a special way that I'm not going to go into details about because I'm going to try and make it a little proprietary thing. But it's really
Fallout game you're talking about. This sounds really, really fun. Do you have any videos on your Instagram or where can
we have some short ones?
Some of that? Okay.
I know other people have made videos on YouTube about our Fallout stuff. I've been meaning to make a YouTube page for literally 8 months now. I don't have time. I don't have time. It's in the works. Like, I'd love to throw this video up on there, and of course credit you and give links to you and everything.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did see your message about that. I can. So what I've done with people in the past, it's only happened a couple of times where somebody asked. One guy, he actually did an unboxing, like a mystery box unboxing. That's mostly what his YouTube channel is. And he did that on the podcast with me. So he kind of surprised me with it. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is cool as shit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because that was our channel. So before I started doing podcasts, that was all of our channel was mystery boxes and then reviews on the guns that we got in the mystery boxes. So he did that. So what I do is Google Drive. I'll make a folder for you. I'll put this video in it, and I'll give you access to it, and you can get it whenever you want.
Excellent. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
We actually use Google Docs, funnily enough, ourselves and Google Drive ourselves for distributing like the safety brief and the event guide and other stuff like that around the map layouts and the flyer. We just text to people because it's easier. But yeah, no, it's funny that works perfectly. And we're actually going to start not this year, but in January. We're going to live stream the entire freaking thing from multiple perspectives, and then also go back and edit the footage afterwards, because people would 100%, they'd love watching it. It's total shenanigans. Like, we've had some really bizarre but hilarious stuff happen. Like, I had while I was reffing once, there was two guys that shot each other at the same time, right? And I'm reffing and I'm looking at them, I'm like, they look at each other like, well, crap, you know. They both look at each other and they sit down to begin their bleed out. I'm like, hey, or hear me out. You guys do a dance battle to the death, and I choose the victor. The other guy has to walk to respawn. The other guy gets back up and gets to keep playing. And these dudes just start stripping off kit, throwing the rifle down, just start freaking going for it.
Oh my
Dance battling in the middle of a firefight, in the middle of an event. It was so funny. I wish I'd had it on video.
Cool. Yeah.
We had the guys that were like rock paper scissoring each other from across a border guard. We've had
a lot of spontaneous shit that happens.
Oh yeah. Oh, one of the funniest one. It was kind of, some people find it politically incorrect, but I find it hilarious. So in the prisoner system, we had 3 guys get marched over to the faction that I was commanding, the Brotherhood of Steel, and they all got lined up, and we're like, all right, unfortunately, the NCR has decided not to pay your ransom, so we're gonna have to execute you to send a message.
Yeah.
So we get the guys, you know, obviously we asked them beforehand, hey, is it okay if we do this? You know, consent's important. Yeah, no, this is gonna be hilarious. So we start recording it. I'll have to send you the video. I have it somewhere. And I've got this Nerf CO2 powered revolver, right?
Oh, nice.
That the same guy that makes the haters, the hater revolvers, makes these guys. They're literally the same gun, but they shoot Nerf darts. It's hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So I pull this thing out as my plasma pistol. I'm like, this is what you get for defying the Brotherhood of Steel, and I blast one in the chest, and I blast the second one in the chest, and the second one in the chest goes and like falls backwards into a building. And the third dude, he's like on his knees, right, and he's got a helmet on, right. So the dude who captured him comes up, and he bought a plunger from the trader as a melee weapon, and he goes, "I'm going to kill you now." And goes like this and plunges the plunger onto the top of his helmet and starts plunging him. And it was just the stupidest, silliest thing ever. But it was so funny, man. God. It was so good. And then as we got more and more, like we got the power armor suit going and everything, one of my guys bought a classic army minigun, and we HPA tapped it. So we had the paladin going around with a minigun, right?
Yes.
And for balance purposes, he wasn't allowed to use it outside of a certain area because, you know, walking all the way up to the enemy spawn, unable to be killed by small arms with a minigun is OP. I'm all about game balance as much as I possibly can be, which is incredibly difficult in whether it's a walk-on game, private game, or an event. But it's a work in progress. And so after a certain period, he has to put down the minigun and pull out a melee weapon, or he can use, you know, the Nerf revolver because it's a plasma weapon, but it's super limited ammo. Not super accurate, you know what I mean? And I'm walking through my area in the power armor, right? And I hear this crunching, and I go, I hear you. And they go, yeah. And they come rushing out at me, and they just see me looking at them in the power armor with the minigun. And I'm not aiming directly at them. And I start pulling the trigger, and it starts spinning. Ah! And they just run. Dude full on drops his rifle and just bails. He's like, no, I'm out of here. And I'm just laughing, not even trying to hit him with it, just shooting at the ground in the bushes, just laughing. And then I gave the armor to another guy on the team, the guy who, funnily enough, built us the better suit. This was back when we were using the aluminum metal. It didn't work. I got cut several times from it. We had just like metal plates like stitched onto a chest rig, essentially.
Yeah.
Didn't work. Didn't work. Wasn't safe. And so he walks away in this thing with a big old gravity hammer, like a custom gravity hammer prop from Halo that he built.
Nice.
And he just starts walking menacingly towards the enemy team. And all I hear, because I can't see it, because I'm back in the faction headquarters, is, and then, if we all charge him, we can kill him. and like 5
Holy
dudes
shit.
bum rush him with melee weapons, and one of them just gets absolutely domed with the not like hard, but like tap with the gravity hammer, and a second one gets hit with the bottom of it. But then the other 3 like basically borderline tackle him and are like pretend stabbing him with melee weapons. Oh, we got the power! We got the power! And it was a great time, man. Seeing people just enjoy themselves and have fun is awesome. I have footage from one of the events where let me grab it real quick. As I said, there's props everywhere down here. I have too many props. So this behemoth of a sword was built by the same guy who built that I was just talking about. And I was sitting inside of Castle, one of the big maps at our home field, and there's this hole about this big in the wall, and just about everyone in the faction that I'm leading, right, or part of leading, I don't remember, has been killed. And I'm sitting right inside this hole. I don't have a weapon because the minigun wasn't working anymore, so I'm just sitting inside this thing, right? And I've got the sword, and I see this guy coming, and he comes in through the doorway, and I just poke him, and he just looks down, and he's like, "Oh, no way." So he has to take a knee in the doorway, which is only like, not even 6 feet across. So he's blocking pretty much the whole thing. And then I hear the guy behind him, "What happened?" And dead men don't talk. So he's just like,
"Oh, shit."
So his buddy comes up and is like right up against the wall. And I just stab that sword out and hit him right in the gut with it, right? And pull it back in. And Leroy's Jenkins charge out of this thing and kill a third dude. And then just get blasted by like their entire team. Absolutely annihilated. But it was so funny. A guy caught it on footage and sent it to me afterwards. I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." You just see me, no armor, no nothing, just eye pro, face pro, a t-shirt, and a sword. Bop. Yeah, no, there's tons of great stuff, man. I love seeing the community come to me with ideas, with props, with all kinds of stuff. We've had guys build like, just for looks props. We've had guys build props that are fully functional. We've had guys build props that we objectives. Like we had a guy build a power fist, power armor, weapons, plasma weapons, all kinds of stuff. We're toying around with the idea of using super soakers as flamethrowers. But some people don't want their gear to get wet, which I totally understand.
Yeah.
But there's areas of like our home field that are super thick brush that's next to impossible to shoot through. But I'll tell you what, I'm sure you can get some flames through that thing with a flamethrower. You know what I mean?
Right.
Splashing people. But yeah, ideas. There's lots of stuff that we're trying to do, and taking a lot of feedback from a lot of sources from it. We've had a lot of teams come to us with that. We're actually doing our first collaborative events with other teams this year. And all the collaborative events are actually going to be fully charity events. Those aren't going to be, no one's making any money. We're covering the cost of the props. We're covering the cost of gas for those of us who are driving, 220 miles. And then every other penny is going straight to a charity. A local one too, one that can actually, do some good locally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great seeing the community grow and change in just the few years that I've been in Airsoft. I wish I'd gotten to it earlier, man. Oh, dude, I really do.
Well, it sounds like you're doing. You guys are growing fast. Your events are obviously growing. And from what it sounds like, which talking with you just a short time, is it's growing because, bro, you're passionate about it. And it sounds like you're having a great time. I mean, this is that's the best combination of, getting a following or getting other people behind what you're doing or involved in what you're doing is that passion.
100%. And my thing with our company as we grow is everyone that I employ, whether they're an Airsofter beforehand or not, has to play. They have to play. Because they need to have that passion. In the years that I've played Airsoft, I've realized the guys who actually make an impact and make sure people have fun are the ones with passion. Like there's a local ref / manager for a local company. He manages one of their and also one of their fields out there out in Alpine and in Oceanside, stores in Oceanside, fields in Alpine. And his name's John. Hands down, best ref I've ever met in my life. Not even a question. not even a question. Like the things I learned from him refing have helped me become a better ref, and just seeing the care and the love that he has for the community at his field and watching him grow it is just awesome, man. Like I really wish I could be down at that field more. I'm just doing so much at my field, and there's so much life stuff happening. I'm not able to be there as much as I'd like. But I've already talked to my boys. We're going to start doing like some private parties or some other stuff down there, and hopefully, doing events for them. Those things where this year I had an exclusivity contract with a company that I'm doing stuff with, so I couldn't host at any other fields outside of theirs, which I liked, but also it just like personally, I hate to exclude anyone or anyone from playing in our events, but I hate to limit myself to playing at just this one field or reffing it in an event at just this one field or 2 fields, 3 fields, 4 fields, whatever the case may be. And I really want to expand out into other fields and get feedback from players that maybe don't play at my home field that I haven't met before. Like there's a lot of players that do tend to stick to one or 2 fields. And then, get to meet them, get to hear their opinions, get to hear their feedback, and get to know them, because we all are the same community, and the community is growing. It really is. There are so many new faces now that I see, which is awesome, absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And I hope it continues. And there's so many good teams that have formed in just the last couple years that I've seen. Like there's this local team that I really love, Too Late Man. Their team name origin is hilarious. So there's this little clip of them playing at I forget the field name. I think it was Code Red. And one guy's recording. He's like, "Hey, don't peek that. There's guys there." And the dude, as he's saying that to him in front of him, peeks and just gets wiped out. And it's just like he just turns around. And he's like, "Too late, man!" And starts walking to on. And they're like, "We're making a team. We're calling it Too Late, man."
Awesome.
Oh, dude, just awesome. I absolutely love it. They're honestly the most honorable players I've ever met in Airsoft. I love playing with them. They're just good dudes. Quite a few of them are military or former military. Some of them are firefighters. Some of them, all kinds of characters in an Airsoft team. Sure. But they're just really good cats, man. Like you can just sit and have a conversation with them, and I love that. And a lot of teams like that out here a lot of teams out here are like that, and I love that. It really breeds the community coming together. And trying to work with several of them to just, that, like I was saying, that little coalition of teams earlier,
sure.
to help new players make sure they have a good first experience, to teach them stuff. Hey, this is how you use a high cap. Also, never, ever, ever buy a high cap. Get mid caps. High caps are garbage.
Come on. The new guys have to start they have to learn the pain of winding. Come on now.
Oh, man. Oh, dude, I hate high caps so much. I really do.
Everyone does.
And just simple things, like I watching the first time rental who's like, right-handed, they're holding like this, picking a cover like this. But if the cover's here, they'll fully expose their entire body in order to get that rifle where they can see. It's like, no, here, let me show you something real quick. Transition, just like this. Lean back, peek, bop, bop, way less of a target. Also, don't chicken wing. Don't be that guy, man. Don't be that guy that chicken wings. I cannot.
They were like chicken wings,
bro. I can't count the number of people I've killed on the field with chicken wings. Yeah, it's just hilarious. So another little trick that I always tell people is watch your shadow. Watch your shadow, because depending on where the sun is, your shadow can be preceding you, and they might not know you're coming and see your shadow coming and then reposition to take you. Also, going back to the high kappas, dude, the maracas of death. Rattle, 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 rattle. You're running with a high cap mag and those BBs are rattling. The maracas of death, man. Oh, I hear you coming. All right, watch my angle. Rattle, rattle, rattle. Rattle, rattle, rattle. 3, 2, 1, thwack. And back to what I was doing. But yeah, I mean, it's important to help people have a good first time and a good time every time. And that's a choice. It's a conscious choice to choose to be a good player and to not a good player, not a talented player, but like a wholesome player. That's a better way to say it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And there's people that don't make that choice. That's their choice. But, maybe take that elsewhere. Or if you want to be like that, you want to be super aggressive, book a private party, play with like-minded people. Right now I'm trying to get our home field to separate walk-on into 2 groups, beginner and advanced, so that we can have rental guns and people who are just starting out, maybe they have kit, but they've never played.
Yeah.
Into beginners. Have a good first slow experience into it, where you're not maybe your first time out and you're quaking in your boots, as a younger person, and then some dude comes around with an HPA rifle and is like thwack, 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 and then keeps going. That's not necessarily going to leave the best impression in your mouth, right. Or impression in your mind, not mouth, for the sport. But
exactly. Yeah, man. Speaking about the two, like the beginners and the experience, I was talking with somebody recently, and he said we rolled up. There was a indoor field in a shopping mall, so we rolled up in there. We had never been to it before, and him and his guys were fully kitted out, bro. Okay, go in there, and when they get there, it is all like 10 and 12-year-olds. And there's a couple dads there. And it's a small indoor field. And he's like, oh, shit. And so, of course, they're, he's like 6'2" or something like that, or 6'3". All his friends are like that tall. And they're in a full kit. So they get in there, and all these kids are like, what? Looking up at him like, yep. And they just abandon the field and let them play. And they were like, well, we don't want to play by ourselves. Like, so they had to start stripping shit off. Try to get out there.
What my team does in that situation, because we've had that situation happen. And unfortunately we've had the situation where there's a couple of us, a bunch of kids, and, a handful of other guys, and then a fully kitted out group of like 10 to 15 dudes in full milsim, everything. And that team of 10 to 15 refuses to split. It's like, dude, I get it. You guys want to play together, but you need to stop thinking about just yourself and the fun you're going to have. Oh, we're going to slam these kids. That's the wrong mentality to have. Right there has told me all I need to know about you. The second I see a group like that says something like that, I'm like, now I have to watch you, and I have to make sure you're not being a-holes. And what my team loves to do is, like, if there's a balance issue of any kind, hey, we'll split our team. Here, some of us go over here, some of us go over here. If we see walk-on players, like you were saying, like brand new players, hey, follow us. We'll teach you some stuff. Hey, I'll give you, some. I'll act as like a squad leader. I'll give you little orders. Hey, do this if you want. If you want to try that, sure, let's try that. And man, I've taken 10 to 14-year-olds that have never touched an airsoft gun.
Yeah.
And I've gotten them into the enemy spawn to wipe the enemy spawn, because it's all about making sure they're comfortable and making sure that they're like, okay, I can do this. Hype them up, man. Teach them some stuff. Hype them up and be like, you can do this. Let's go. Come on. You, and you. I'm going to provide cover fire. You two just run to that piece of cover. You get there. Provide cover fire. I'll move up. Let's do it. All right? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Brr. And then watching them take off and go. Dude, there's no better feeling for me than watching some first time out absolutely whoop the crap out of, especially, players that come regular. I'm just like, yeah, they underestimated them. They underestimated these kids. Get it, kids. Get them. Because everyone, I don't care what your skill level is, has been killed by a rental gun with a kid at some point, because you can't watch every direction. You can't. And it's not, you shouldn't get angry or upset about it. I treat it as very, very realistic. Like, I treat every time I get hit as, man, I took a real round. What can I learn from that to get seen less, to get shot less? And as a result, I'm a very sneaky player now. I tend to go the majority of the day only dying a handful of times. Right. But then there's people who have a totally different play style. They just want to run and gun. They want to charge Leroy Jenkins style in, hose an area, get hosed in turn, and then run back and do it again. There's all kinds of play styles. There's all kinds of mindsets. And I want all of them to have fun. You know what I mean? Whether or not I want to enjoy, I personally enjoy playing with them. I want all of them to have fun.
For sure. Well, who would you like to shout out, man? Who do you want to give props to, or who you want to
Storm the Poet,
give some recognition?
Hands down, Storm the Poet, great dude. Doing great things up in Apple Valley. He's just an awesome character, and I wish I could see him more often. I really do. Team Too Late Man, hands down, most honorable players I've ever played with. Not a question. Team 5150, Tactical, great dudes. Love the atmosphere. They're another team that can really get out there with a community mindset and hey kids, come on, let's go, follow me, let's go. Too Late Man 2 doing it, and I love that. And then we've got a couple of local teams. Team Collective, great dudes out of Giant. They're fun. They're aggressive, man, and their communication, it's really good, especially for how young some of them are. It's really good.
Nice.
We've got oh god, what are the local teams? I don't really think there's any more local teams at my local field than that. There's a great group that I played with up north, Tac Squad 77, really cool dudes, great attitude. High Class Villains are cool cats. I've played with them a couple times. Order 66, Order 66. I haven't had the chance to play with them in person before, but I was just chatting with them recently, and one of them came down to some of our Fallout events. I didn't know he was Order 66. And they're a pretty well-known group in LA area. And I just joined their Facebook group. They're cool dudes. They're very welcoming. And there's so many teams. I've got a box of patches here somewhere. I don't know what I did with it, but I've been collecting them from all the teams and groups that I've gotten to know. And it's awesome, man. I love it. Like I got to get a big old patch wall, slot up, and get all their patches on there so I can start doing calls and people can see them. It's just, dude, it's a great time. Thank you, Hooney, for recommending me over to this fine man. Thank you for taking the time to sit down and do a podcast. I love it.
Oh, dude, great. Yeah, I appreciate you being on.
Yeah, my pleasure. And hey, anytime you want to join in on any of the Instagram live videos we're doing, I'll be happy to have you join in and then talk to everyone. Maybe you can snag some people to come do some podcast stuff and keep up the good work.
That'd be great, man. Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate you being on. Well, where can people find all your stuff?
So on Instagram, you can find us at team.brotherhood.airsoft. On Facebook, Brotherhood Airsoft. And you can find me personally on Instagram at kyle.joker.smith. I don't check that as often as the team one. The team one's basically become my one.
Right.
And then we're working actually on releasing our website here very shortly, probably by the end of the year. And that's going to have links to all of our events for an entire year ahead of time. We actually have all of our events, not all of our events, a huge amount of our events for next year planned already. At our home field at Giant, we have 25 events alone. So every first Sunday, every third Saturday of every single month, we're doing an event, and they're alternating. So there's 2 different trilogies going on every quarter.
Yeah.
And then in October, we're also doing a huge 200-person game. At least I want to hit 200 people.
Right.
That's going to be like a mini mil sim. Not quite a mil sim, but we're trying to try that out because it's been requested from us. We've also been requested to do some Speedsoft stuff. I don't personally have the talent or the knowledge for that, so I've been talking with a local Speedsoft team. Actually, that's another one I need to talk about is Syndicate Union. Syndicate Union have been absolutely killing it this year in Speedsoft in North and South California.
Yeah.
And Tactical League. Tactical League, you guys, another shout out. You guys have been doing a great job this year. Love seeing what you guys are doing. Yeah, I think that's just about it for us. We're going to be starting YouTube here shortly. It's just finding time.
Right.
I mean, planning out these events, man. There's usually like 50 to 150 hours of work put into each one of these events.
I'm sure.
Between, props, layout, reaching out to teams, making sure teams are balanced, dealing with, the business side of things, all that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and then actually reffing it. And then cleaning up everything afterwards. Like there's a lot of love put into these. It is definitely a labor of love. But we're also planning on more events next year outside of our home field. So we got some Star Wars stuff that we're not quite ready to release the full details on.
Nice.
Both at our field and further north, and some other events that we're waiting to get confirmation on. It's one of those things that it's a lot of. I pass it along to people and then wait months to hear back.
Right.
Sometimes it's just days, but sometimes it does get stuck in the bureaucratic loop and take a long time. Yeah. But yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this podcast tonight, man. It was a ton of fun. I'm happy to be on. I hope some of the people I shouted out and referred will join in and do some. I think they'd have a great time, and you'd have a great time talking with them.
Absolutely, man. Well, I appreciate you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put the links on all that. If you want to send me the all those guys you just shouted out.
Yeah.
I could put all those links in our video, and
yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. And of course,
yeah,
yours.
I'll make a note of that right now. Text you or I'll message you the links directly to their accounts on Instagram.
Absolutely, that'd be great, man. Well, listen, man, you have a good night. I appreciate you, and everyone listening and watching, go follow this guy, Joker, Brotherhood Airsoft. Yes, they got some big things coming up, and man, I'm really impressed with all the events you guys are putting on already. So I appreciate what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. Let's keep the community growing and keep the community alive, man. Have a great night.
All right, you too, man. Bye-bye.